On FM, online, and on your smart speaker, this is East Coast Radio. Newswatch.
A year ago at this time, many operations across industries came to a sudden stop due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The aviation industry in our country was no different. Newswatch's Notando Mkhize filed this report.
The aviation sector in our country had witnessed the storm approaching from other countries. General Manager at King Shaka International under the Airports Company South Africa, Terence Delomoney, says what made it more significant here was the profound impact it had.
If I just had to compare 2020 to 2019, we actually did just under 30% of the total traffic. As you can imagine, that's a significant impact on the business, both in terms of passenger numbers, in terms of the air traffic movements that we've had.
The wings of aviation were not the only thing to be clipped as weeks turned to months. So too were jobs.
So as you can imagine, it's had a significant impact. We've had to go and replan the business. In terms of operating costs, we've gone through a process where we've had to look at our headcount and, we've had a voluntary retrenchment program that's happened and completed.
Delomoney says the pandemic has meant they had to rethink certain projects and spending.
So an example would be in 3 years, starting from last year and the next 2 years, as a company, we were going to spend something like 17 billion rand in capital expenditure. Now we have to, really curtail that program to maintenance type capex. So that brings it down to about 2 billion rand that we'll spend in the next 2 or 3 years. So as you can imagine, it's had a significant impact.
Thankfully, there is a silver lining behind the pandemic cloud. Delomoney explains how they used the pandemic as an opportunity to be at the forefront of cutting-edge technology as far as passenger safety is concerned.
We also look at technology, and there's a lot of technology that we do have in place. It's almost like contactless type of technology where people can self-check in so they don't have to have contact with anybody. We're looking at self-boarding. So I think moving forward, it's really going to be that. It's about to look at what other technologies, what other processes that we can put in place to make people even more comfortable.
It's undeniable that winds of change are blowing across the aviation industry. An industry which looks set to take off to new horizons under a new normal. Notando Mkhize, East Coast Radio Newswatch.
And the South African National Christian Forum says it is prepared to take government to court to ensure churches remain open during the long Easter weekend. Last week, a health minister called for a stricter lockdown with fears of a looming third wave of COVID-19 infections. Bishop Maruti says the minister's comment is irrational and loaded with elements of double standards.
We are not going to hesitate to take a legal step on an urgent basis. Just like we did take the government to court on the 2nd of February to reopen the churches, we will do the same.
The top story, it has been a year since the nationwide lockdown has been introduced, grounding our aviation industry, which is still looking to take off to pre-COVID-19 times. For Newswatch, I'm Steve.
On FM, online,